It was all practical effects. We had this amazing special effects creature department. Everything was built and robotic. I have one here, like as an example. She's cute. This is not the one we used for the film, but just as like a preview here, she's very cute.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, I love this film. Appendage has such a unique premise. I've never seen a horror film quite like this. So first, I gotta ask, how did the idea for this originate?
Yeah, it came from living with anxiety and depression and trying to figure out how to put that into a story that isn't super heavy, but is still honoring that struggle while also having some humor to it and balancing those things. So it was totally just like a, kind of Dadaist thing that happened.
I'm also really curious about how the appendage itself is created because I think I saw a photo of you holding it. And
I love her.
right, yeah. Well, at first I thought that it was special effects, but now I'm wondering, did the art department create something, tangible for the film?
Yes, it was all practical effects. We had this amazing special effects creature department. Everything was built and robotic. I have one here, like as an example. She's cute. This is not the one we used for the film, but just as like a preview here, she's very cute.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
So yes, all practical effects. I'm a big, proponent of that. I think it looks amazing. So
Yeah, it has such a unique look. So how close was the final product, what you were imagining in your head when you first came up with this premise?
it was darn close. And we spent a lot of time, kind of critical time going back and forth. Me and Amber Marie, the creature department head, she would 3D model stuff. Then we also, I mean, there were like 3 stages that we had to figure out. And so we worked with 3D modeling, we worked with Midjourney, we worked with several artists, and we went back and forth and kind of hammered in what we liked the best. So I was really excited. It really turned out kind of very close to what was in my head.
The movie as a whole, there are so many wonderfully unsettling aspects to this. I mean, from the appendage itself to kind of the threat that it poses. However, I am curious what you feel the heart or the true root of the horror is. What do you think is really going to speak to people's fears?
Yeah, I think that anxiety, depression, any sort of mental health struggle that you're having is quite a universal thing. And we're kind of afraid to talk about it still. It's sort of this sort of shameful thing that everyone is like, I don't go through that. But I think we all do. The older I get, the more I'm like, wow, like you feel that way too. Oh, you do too. And so I think that that sort of universal intrusive thought, kind of imposter syndrome voice, I think is what's going to get people the most. Like, oh, I feel that way too.
Did the character of Hannah come to you first and you wanted to kind of build a story around her? Or did you have the appendage in your mind and you ended up building Hannah, kind of off of that?
I always start with character first, and we were able to do the short film version of it. Like, I think it was in 2021. So that was kind of a good test of it. But definitely it came from Hannah and her backstory, and then how that kind of relates to the appendage and how those things tie together thematically.
Something that I found was a really pleasant surprise in here was the female friendship between Hannah and Esther. It's just not something you see too much of in horror films. So I was wondering if you could just kind of, say why you felt that was important to include.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Hannah's friendship with Esther is crucial to her surviving the whole story and, coming through on the other side. And it was important to show that support because I think so much of the time we don't know what to do when someone is struggling or how to help. And I think friendship is a huge part of that and just being there for someone. So it was really important for me to show that on screen and also just to highlight a female friendship because I think we still don't see it often enough. And just that level of closeness and how they can understand each other, even though they've gone through kind of tough times in their friendship because of what Hannah's going through. And, I think that was really important.
I'm also curious what you look for in a horror movie when you're going to watch it. What really gets you with the scares?
Totally. I mean, I think for me, it has to be about something like that I can emotionally lock into. I'm less of like I love jump scares. I'm like afraid of everything. But I think to get to my core, I need something emotionally visceral that I can connect to. So I always look for that when I'm watching horror. Like The Babadook, amazing movie about grief, made me cry. Like, that's what I'm always looking for.
Well, lastly, was this your first feature film?
It was.
Oh, well, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just would love to know how the experience was.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, It's a huge learning curve. It's also just something I've been preparing for the longest time. So it kind of all felt really right. And it was just exciting. All the challenges, like every obstacle, I was just excited by, like, how do we figure this out? How do we do this? How do we make it the best movie we can on this budget? So it was an awesome experience, difficult, all of the things. And I'm really excited to do it again.
Well, I cannot wait for everybody to see this film. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. It's almost October. We're almost there.
Right, yes.